Alright, how you guys doing? Today we about to hop into a little reaction to first things first though. Just make sure you like that video, hit a little exit full screen, scroll a bit, like it, and then full screen it back up. You feel me? So we have another video coming from the Bible Project called The Human Condition You Can't Escape No Matter Where You Live. Now, I was a psychology student, so I do know a little bit about the human condition, but it's not ringing any bells. Yeah, just including our experiences, emotions, and morality, or mortality, all aspects of that. Right? So the human condition be defined as characteristics, key events of the human life, including birth, learning, emotions, aspirations, and the reason, mortality, conflict, and death. So yeah, the human condition that we're all subject to, Bible Project. So coming from a Christian's perspective, let's check it out.
There's something about being home, where everything's just right. We're surrounded by people we love and trust. There's a feeling of stability and safety.
And while some people get to experience this kind of home, many do not. Others might even be forced to leave their home and go live in a foreign land. We call this going into exile.
Yeah, in exile, everything is disoriented. You're in the unknown.
And in the story of the Bible, this is where the ancient Israelites found themselves, conquered by Babylon, living in exile, far from their homeland.
And so they had to ask themselves, how did we end up here? And is there any hope of going home?
And the whole story of the Bible is designed to address those very questions.
The whole story? Really?
Yeah, go back to the first pages of the Bible. Where does humanity live?
Okay, they live in this really sweet garden, their home.
And they're there on one condition, that they trust and follow God's one command, and they don't. And so the consequence is banishment from the garden.
Ah, they're sent into exile.
Exactly. And so this story's been designed to set you up for Israel's story. How they were given the gift of the promised land and were able to stay there on one condition, that they be faithful to the terms of their covenant relationship with God.
They didn't, and they were sent into exile.
And if you still don't see the parallel between exile from the garden and exile from Israel, think about this. In Genesis, humanity's exile led up to the story about the building of what city?
Oh yeah, Babylon. The same place the Israelites are sent.
But that's not the end of either story. In the first Babylon, God called Abraham to leave and travel to the promised land. And that story was designed to give hope to the Israelites currently living in the later Babylon.
Now eventually, they do get to leave and travel back to their promised homeland.
And when they did, it wasn't home sweet home. Oppressive empires were still ruling over them, and the people kept acting in the same corrupt ways as their ancestors. And so the biblical prophets said that exile wasn't actually over.
How could they think they were still in exile when they're at home?
Yeah, this is really important. In the Hebrew scriptures, Israel's Babylonian exile became an image of something more universal. It's that feeling of alienation and longing for something more, no matter where you live.
Yeah, I can relate to this. I have a great home, but it's situated in a world scarred with pain and broken relationships, death and tragedy, done by others, but also done by me.
And so in the Bible, exile is the human condition. We all keep repeating this pattern of human corruption leading to a Babylon that we can't escape. And it doesn't matter where you live, we are all longing for a better home.
Now, Israel's scriptures held out hope that one day God would send a king who would rescue the world from all of the Babylons we've created.
And after many generations pass, we meet this Israelite named Jesus of Nazareth. He wandered about with no home, announcing the great restoration, that reality of home that Israel and all humanity has been looking for.
Yeah, Jesus really cared about people who didn't have homes. He welcomed in the stranger. He said God's love is shown when you invite in the outcast and throw parties for people who don't have a place to belong.
Jesus also claimed that Israel and all humanity had lost its way, that our self-centeredness drives us to create false homes based on status and power, and these inevitably exclude others. We live in an exile of our own making. But Jesus said the true way home is one of weakness, of service, and of forgiveness. And then Jesus went into exile alongside us to show us the true way home.
Which is?
Well, Jesus said he is the way. His life and self-giving love proved more powerful than humanity's failure. He opened up a pathway to our real home. And as Jesus' followers committed themselves to him, they discovered this new way of being human. They believed that the real return from exile had begun. And so they would call themselves sojourners or wanderers.
Oh, right. They would say things like, the world isn't our home, and we're citizens of heaven.
And so Jesus' followers remain exiles as they wait for that day when Jesus returns to transform this world into a true home.
You see, and that's just a lovely video because it just makes me feel with so much hope, especially that visual with Jesus leading the way, and that's a golden brick road, right? That's what we call the straight and narrow. However, when somebody steps on it and they follow that path, they also too become a vessel for that same light, creating their own road. And with that road, they can grab people out on the other roads and bring them to this road, which connects to the main road, which leads you home. If you've ever been lost, you know how much of a blessing it is to have somebody show you the right way you're supposed to be going. So that visual element was absolutely beautiful. And not only for that reason, but back to my first point, this should inspire you. You see it all the time in the Bible, right? And you really got to think. I wanted to make a video about this so long ago, but I never got around to doing it. Doubt. Imagine you are there with Moses. You watch Moses get up on that mountain. You watch Moses come down with 10 commandments. You watch God speaking to you so much that you tell Moses, stop him speaking, because if he speaks anymore, we're all going to die. You heard God speak. Moses told you follow God. Moses told you wait. Moses told you God override. You go. Not only do you not trust in that, you then go worship a golden calf right after. After seeing, not seeing, but hearing and experiencing God and some of his power. Not all of it, because that was just his voice, but don't get it twisted. It's the same voice that created everything else, right? His word went out and breathed life into us, you know? That's just the power of his speech. But we struggle with so many different things nowadays. You know, we don't get that same luxury of getting to experience God or in the same way that they did, right? We, however, have direct access to God. Back then it was the high priest. Nowadays we just go and pray and get mediated through Jesus Christ to God for us, which is infinitely better, you could say. But I feel like we'd have so much less struggles with faith if we could see and or hear God, but then it would take the faith aspect out of it. However, that direct communion should serve as enough faith for us, right? Because you ask earnestly, you ask for that wisdom, he's gonna give it to you. Why? Because he's been storing it up. He's got it ready for you. So ask and you shall receive. Just don't ask amissly on the lust of your own flesh, right? But either way, that should fill you with so much hope. And for me, hope is the main thing, because so much of this day-to-day struggle, you get too caught up in this day-to-day struggle. Get too caught up with the things of this world, and you don't realize I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm a citizen over there. I'm in exile right now in this fleshly body where I'm constantly tormented with temptations, and one day there will be no more pain, no more suffering, weeping, or gnashing of teeth, and we will be in communion with God in perfect love for the rest of eternity. And that's all we can hope for. And that's all we can try to save people so they can understand and experience that same love with us. Because man, oh man, is that going to be great. All right, that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.